we know and love. But also with a couple of pickups that you usually don't get to see, you know? You often don't get to see the Gwen and the Yone and the Sejuani. Bits of that are usually... I think this is specifically one of those games where you can really look towards Bin, really try to get involved in that lane. See if you can impact onto this matchup, because the Gwen is going to be a big part of FPX shutting down what BLG want to do. Like we were saying, so good at getting through these tanky champions, and you need to buy space for Knight and Elk to be able to do their thing in this matchup.
Oh, as Dway gets a double crash down. Elk and Owen were not in position, not expecting it, and they look petrified.
Melee champions available here for Shadow to play around. Actually, shit, just gonna have to turn and run. Uh-oh. Oh, no.
The lane swap. Now it's a mistake time for FunPlus. Phoenix Sheer not respecting. Owen coming to lane. And Elk, after the Big Mar mistake, gets something back, but Bin, on the flip side, trying to throw down 1 versus 2, does not get back to his own turret. So... Oh
boy, Bin. Oh no. He's been pretty vulnerable to dives throughout this split so far.
Always the target. No flash available. Jouet gets the stuns locked up, and there is that permafrost stun you were talking about. All 3 kills early to get the Feats of Warfare on Assume.
Exactly what you want to be doing right here. So much proactivity during the early game from FPX. They are going to lose out onto this Drake, but not the end of the world to lose a Chem to change things too much. Bin now going to be another dive. No permafrost available, but Care still has his own CC.
Somebody order another dive, and somebody order a delicious Wombo combo served up fresh, hot and ready. They hit the bullet time into the Fate Sealed, and it's been going back to the bin for a 3rd time.
FPX, a team on the rise at the moment, looking to get themselves back to 500. They've played a ton of games. They've already played one of those super weeks some of these teams have, where they play 4 games in 1 week. They've already completed their first round robin, right? It's a crazy amount that they've had to play already, and the fact that they have been able to begin to pull it back, 3 wins in a row up until what was a loss against WE, and now already taking BLG to task. Going to be spawning. FPX grabbed all of the first 3. Now FPX potentially looking for a dive before that set spawns for themselves. Knight, a slightly harder target to grab. On is in the area too.
Yep. Is he going to be able to catch Shadow before he gets the push it out? No, the hop still has the stun land. But Assume can't get close enough to try and push the bullet time across. Teleports him across. BLG are angry, and they want to try and shut down this dive, and at the very least, they're going to get a ton of flashes out. But guess what? Elk's got some slows. The curtain call is looking to sunset this dive attempt. The equalizer as well. So many slows. Owen trying to get close enough for the dredge line, but look at the turn there. Coming across from Dway. The bullet time heals all wounds for FPX, and somehow, on the complete back foot, they come away with the 1 kill.
That does mean all of the members of FPX are now down in the bottom side just before these grubs are going to spawn. With Way right there. Maybe that's the trade. Elk is just dead,
okay.
Surely.
Fade Seal doesn't land, doesn't matter. Care Soul Unbound gets out, and that's the 4th flash burned. There are no flashes available for FPX, and Knight is on the flank. The golden left hand trying to silence this torrential run in the early game from FPX, but it's still just so pandemonium, so messed up. They get the Buster Bomb, though, to find the kill on his way, so Knight can get the reset. He's going to hop towards Assume, who does have Barrier. Trying to buy more space, but Shadow, his health bar is blinking. The dredge line somehow hits from On. That looked a bit wacky, but a kill's a kill. Knight's on that same pedestal, resting his golden left hand. Per usual.
Indeed. Knight going to have a big performance right here. Been good so far. On.
Ooh, that bullet time was so misguided that it gets canceled, but they've got the lockdown, Glacial Prison, Magnet Storm, and sometimes you don't need that big misfortune to find kills.
There is a reason that either the Sejuani or the Yone have been banned out so often as a combo. It just gives you so much, and it pairs up so well with these aggressive melee supports that we've been seeing so much of in the meta as well. Between Jouet and Shadow, big objectives are going to be spawning, and when there's time, dives are apparently what these teams want to do. This is a really risky dive you want to go for. I think it's much more likely the Shadow just steals away some of these Krugs, although actually Sheer and Assume are coming down as well.
Oh my god. Whatever bug BLG have for dives, it's spread to FPX, and poor On is going to be the sacrifice. They once again, that's the 2nd time in 3 minutes that 5 members of FPX are on the bot side of the map.
Yeah, they're going to pay for it with their top lane tower. You can see in the pip, although who's going to be able to pick this one up first? This is actually pretty important.
First turret's already down, I believe, in the top side.
It is, yeah.
This game one is just such a good test for who can really execute their composition better with all the CC like you're talking about. Both junglers in such a facilitative role. Depth charge, Glacial Prison traded as Knight does get stunned up. Dwayne and Sue are trying to come away on the back end. We also have Care flanking of the Sentry. Bullet time goes down onto Own, but look at the equalizer. It burns down Sheer. Care finally arrives to the party and sections off Elk. First marksman is down. Knight trying to 1v1 up against Shadow. The Heartsteel pop nearly finds him, but it's Care over the wall, uses the Fate Seal.
Although this is topside. I didn't know we were allowed to fight in other places on the map.
What? This is illegal.
I know.
I didn't know this. We need to get some. We need to make sure we have the right permits to do this because this fight is about to break out. They have Assume fly out of it. Somehow we let the AD carry ride in the Rift Herald. That's also a cardinal sin. There are a lot of violations going on, but nonetheless, the mid-tier 1 turret
to be able to do your damage to Tristana, a little bit of a low-range ADC. You get jumped immediately by all of the CC that FPX have for themselves. Assume he's had a couple of good bullet times, and that's because this setup for his team, the way that this team is able to get things going early, just been so very impressive. FPX, despite the fact they lost their most recent matchup, it feels like they're coming into this one with all the momentum.
All the momentum, all of the vengeance on the mind. Is this Wei starting off with a crash down? Impale from Wei does land just onto Shadow, and the crit shot from Elk finds its mark with a huge equalizer from Bin, and just like that, the former two-time champs bite off and leave their mark. Elk, completely untouched, is starting to try and run this fight, but the topside melees do trade out. Jway, and resets are coming across here from Knight. He does sport the teleport, so he's going to rejoin this fight. And BLG with their man advantage are not going to let this dragon go quietly. They need to leave a statement in this game as they have been faltering in some of these fights. And the 50-50 is going to come across onto the dragon. And even though they don't have a jungler, they have Elk who gets the crit shot, but the distance is cut down by Care once more. Gets a triple kill. And makes sure provides an extra threat on that side lane. Nobody can really challenge him 1 versus 1.
Oh,
so we have Own fishing and coming up completely short for the pick. Impale does come on it too. The bullet time used offensively from Asun to make sure Knight doesn't go too far forward. And who else but Care to fly in on the flank. Finds the kill onto Own, but that's just the support. And the equalizer gets a ton of value. Elk really has his flash. Burning. And this thing is just gone. They have been on the bot side. He's catching waves, and Elk is not close enough. It's still important to pick up those petals, pick up those flowers, but even that won't be contested. So, an Octagon for no price, except maybe Care.
Big flank.
Yeah, Care is 6-0. Remember, this is the Golden Goose with a huge shutdown. Dredgeline perfectly positioned from Own. It's both the tanks, but Wade does have the Impale if he needs it. Grabs Care, and Knight is going to be gifted a huge bounty. Watch the gold add up. He does have to burn the flash, but Cash is in, filling out most of that LDR. And Knight will only really start to increase his range by this point, and 3 items with a armor shred item will make it so that Shadow can even fall weak and prey to Knight. Just like this dragon did. Yeah. Double marksman difference, man.
Oh yeah, just shredding straight through these things. The decision from FPX was to not contest for that one, instead try to get this mid lane tier 2 tower down. It has the smallest amount of HP. Yeah, there we go. Ooh, Bin has to flash away. Step up around this Baron. They are fully on a ward, though.
Yeah, there's a lot of good warning coming down from Own. He gets a Dream Dredge line. Hello, they catch out Assume. There's no cleanse available. He flashes the Buster shot with the bomb ticking over Assume. Wow, mere single HP points to keep him alive. But what does FPX look like without that clutch bullet time? I've got the answer. Mincemeat. Sheer goes down. Pick found. Knight does fall. But it's a 2-for-1 as both soul lanes of FPX drop. And is that enough for BLG to say, time to dance with the purple worm?
Oh, the fact that the Buster shot with bomb combo didn't quite end up in the kill really sucks, but it still cancelled the bullet time. Massive play right there out of Knight, even though he does end up falling as well. But now, this Baron falling relatively quickly, although not as fast as with that Tristana. Shadow is here.
He won't get into the pit, though. Way's going to deny him. Own is there. Baron is gone unless he can flash in. Gets the Glacial Person onto Elk. Shadow, you have to go after the Baron. He doesn't want it, though. And it's lanes. And right now, he's been the difference maker, and he's looking to do it again as he flashes to get the Ixtal's impact. The Impale, though, is canceled by the Soul Unbound recall, and the man we were just praising is completely caught way disintegrated by Care.
How does it now, though? We are going to have the Mountain Drake spawn. It would be Soul if BLG can pick this up for themselves. FPX, they can't afford to lose out onto this one.
See Wei try and pilot them forward into the pit. This is Mountain Soul Point, like you called out, so everybody's teleporting in. Sheer cancels a big flank blast cone. Does Wei have the odds to go in for the pit and try and steal this Mountain Drake? No, he doesn't want to give his life. It's not going to force anything too bad onto them, as Shadow does jump towards BLG backline. Elk and Bin stay safe, though the Glacial Prison doesn't find any spark. None of these ultimates are really lining up for anybody. They get an equalizer that doesn't get any value, but what does get the value? The bullet time! They arrives right on tote for FPX, and now they just blow through BLG. Both marksmen don't mean squat. FPX are the kings of this game one.
They really are. They're going to be able to run this one forwards. 30-second death timers on the majority of these carries. 40 seconds on these ADCs. This should well be the end of the game right here. Have to wait for minion waves. Things are a little bit slow right now. Let's see. Can they do it? 30 seconds until anybody really important going to be back up. This is going to be game right here. FPX, I mean, what more could you want? Taking out BLG in game one, honestly, in a pretty dominant fashion.
What a statement from FPX. We've talked about their meteoric rise through that 3-win streak. It's playing as a team and having fun while doing it. And you can see the smiles on the squad as they lock back in with a 1-0 lead against the...
You're looking to be playing in a lot of 5v4s. You very much want to have champions that can buy you space. The Kalista helping out the Renata already does that.
The early phase and how much Sheer can buy time for the Maiden and company as Shadow has set up his own little spy operation as he watches his own blue buff get taken. Knight has first from over Care. Can hop over with the blast cone. Wade dashing forward. Maybe just to push Shadow off of his blue buff. Shadow flashes forward, tries to secure it, but it's Knight that is able to grab it for Wei. A lot of damage buffer there by Shadow. They have the bailout if they need it. Care dashes as well. Flashes galore, but Elk finds first blood onto Assume, and he's going to make it a double up. Elk and On, the difference right now for BLG, and Care can't even find a straggling hope of a kill. Just like that, 3-0. Feats of warfare to Bilibili Gaming.
Do enough damage to almost get that kill. Doesn't even manage to complete that one. Like you said, Warfare immediately going over, and that's going to put some extra priority onto these towers. Sheer has Shadow in the area. Bin needs to be careful. Oh, bot lane.
Oh my god, but bot lane, Assume has the bailout, but who's there to bail him out? Nobody. Elk gets another kill in. This bottom lane goes from bad to worse. And we're talking about the space Sheer can have to push further for those turrets like you're talking about if they're having to play further back. And we're talking about Sheer, and he just walks into a free pick.
No.
BLG are unrelenting. This is the Bilibili Gaming, a split one that we thought could contend for the LPL title.
BLG also going to be able to grab themselves up these grubs, and this really sucks for FPX. Yes, you get the Drake on the backside, but who cares? You've got a Yorick. Yorick and grubs is a combo made in heaven.
I mean, Sheer can't even get his ghouls up. He can't even get to his turret. Elk is so dangerous right now with 2 long swords, and he's hitting every single Mystic shot. It's like he's got aimbot. Sheer does take over level 6, so he gets the main to at least buy him some space, but Wade says time to close that gap. Great Tangle Barb from On, and Elk is quietly now 4-0 on an Ezreal that is going to hit like a truck. Far away, he is on top of the Krugs. And Elk even sniffs this out, hits the Q. They're playing around the Grand Starfall. Shadow is waiting to churn that ultimate. Assume jumps forward. Watch the Pantheon flying at some point, or maybe he doesn't. He says, this is a lost cause. The Fate's Call does come down from Assume. He throws Wei towards Elk, but they don't get towards that Ezreal. It does leave Wei to his own devices, but there's just not enough of a pack behind the punch right now for FPX. And with the Realm Warp in from Knight, the even odds are completely obliterated. Another win for BLG. 8 kills in 8 minutes for him.
Is he worried for their continued existence on the Rift? Joy proving that to me right now as he takes a huge chunk of damage.
This is a 10-minute Trinity Force block. So this is a 10-minute Trinity Force. Damage off the charts. Maybe not. Maybe that doesn't even define Elk's damage right now.
Usually, what I would say at this point is, so what's the ways for FPX to get back into this game?
That's right.
Oh, yeah, of course, of course. I love seeing both sides of the spectrum. What was that, 57 minutes that game was? That was crazy.
55?
55,
something,
yeah.
Something towards the high 50s almost, yeah.
Absolutely insane. As you can see, every single time any member right here of BLG steps up, just chunk people through. And that's not even with your strongest member. Elk isn't even here right now. He was busy taking...
Was also already given to FPX. They are the losers of the shortest game, I'm pretty certain, up against Top Esports. 23-29 is going to be pretty hard to beat, Bloxer.
Yeah, it's very funny that NIP and Top keep showing up in these games where there's just stuff going on. That's when you really see the quality of this team begin to show, and at the moment you can see it right here. They're just rotating across the map so well to put Elk in every lane that he can just bully as much as possible. Top lane is going to go for a little bit of a fight.
Alright, so this is not just a fight with Sheer, it's a fight with the Maiden, set of ghouls, and it's still...
Maiden's just dead, oh no.
It's enough to at least not have Sheer die, but if Sheer is not... Yeah, if Sheer's not winning that heavily with the maximum overdrive of Yorick's kit, you know you're in a bad spot.
Very much so, but I don't think anybody's going to be surprised by that one at the moment. We're going to have another minute 40 until the Herald up and available, 2 and a bit until the Drake. For now, it's just going to be the bullying of BLG. They can just go in here.
Assume and Jue are really trying to make this work, and they actually do have Wei kind of caught. There's the Emperor's Divide, throws Wei back into his own team, but he does fall. Shadow flashing out to safety. Knight going to try and chase him down, but not going to be able to through the 2 turrets.
Okay.
So we finally get a trade of kills, and that is, folks, a win for FPX.
Just about, but it is now going to turn into this mid lane tier 1, getting at least massively chunked. The next wave
now
a little bit slow. Yeah. Does have the TP if you wanted to maybe move up towards the top side. Nah, just going to lose this one out. And yeah, this is the unfortunate thing when you're this far behind. It takes so long to be able to pick up your kills, and you don't even manage to kill onto the most important member to get down. It just means you lose out on the rest. Care now needs to be careful. He's got both Knight and Elk here.
Does have Flash. There's the Pop Blossom, though. Oh, perfect follow Flash.
Nice.
Own Reed Scare like a book.
Yep, easy.
Gets another kill for BLG, and it's more turrets time with 6 scrubs.
I'm slightly worried for Shadow. If he had stepped up a little bit quicker there, I wonder if Elk might have just turned around and one-tapped him too. So very strong. He'll end up losing Assume off of the Night Flash forward.
Not going to be able to get away with just a trade most of the time up against BLG, but Jue, hello, handshaking and verbally agreeing to his own death warrant. Bailout down, Assume to fall once more. Karis teleport just a little bit too late to the party. The Sand Soldiers will find its mark on Wei. But Knight is here, and most importantly, Elk is here on an Ezreal that is so inflated, it would blow your mind, and he just auto-attacks down the last 2 straggling members of FPX for another multi-kill.
Gonna be an ace right here. Just 16 minutes into this game. You can see the look on the faces right here of the members of FPX. They know this one is pretty dang over at this point. Elk even using those 6 scrub Void Mites.
This game is about BLG finding their form together and having fun again on the Rift. Not making it so difficult to find the wins that they've been known to get with ease in past, and it's plays like this that have made BLG so feared in the LPL as it just rinse and repeat, sending these guys to the gray screen as quickly as possible.
And Grey Screen Simulator, very much the name of the game here for FPX. I guess one good thing you could say is it's not a perfect game. They've had a couple kills. They managed to get themselves a Drake. It is also at least not a situation where an FF would have been faster, you know. They have at least taken 18 minutes off of the clock. I think we'll go over 20 minutes. I don't know if this is going to be a less than 20-minute game, but this is complete and utter domination. This is BLG speedrunning, getting us to a game number 3. That is very exciting for a matchup with so many implications for the standings.
Really trying to shake up that middle of the pack as Shadow dives into the middle of BLG. Crescent Guard going to block a lot of damage. Hostile takeover again from Jue is pretty good, but the important member is untouched and free hitting. It's Elk, and he does not look like a deer in the headlights this game. He looks like a man with a mission, and that mission could be claiming the quickest game of 2025 in the LPL. With Grubs and with Care and Shadow only up, they might try for it right now. They got the middle inhibitor down. They pivot towards top side, and they won't go for that award just yet, but they still got time.
They still got 4 full minutes, 4.5 minutes at this point to be able to complete this game, and it feels pretty likely. Elk just going to go for this play right here. They're even able to move away from the Emperor's Divide. This is just a disaster.
They do lose Bin, and Elk has a low health bar, despite how many items he does have. Oh, lethal tempo. Finds that shutdown for Care. Quicker reset for Elk. Cost him 1,000 gold.
And Knight just nicks away that red buff to end things out. Jue also potentially under threat right here. I think he's Be okay. He's going to step down, right? He's not going to walk up into that bush, surely.
Surely, right?
Oh.
Bloxer, what have you done? Bye-bye, Jouet. Oh, the limp away bailout. We have pushed way over the 1 kill per minute for BLG.
Oh, yeah. Exceptionally bloody game at this point. Usually when we say 1 kill a minute, we're referring to combined rather than per team. BLG really just are on such an accelerated path into this one. 20 minutes have now ticked over. There is an Atakan available if you want to go for it for BLG. But at the same time, they've managed to take themselves down this mid lane inhibitor.
Atakan regardless. But I just think this is going to be the fight that might end the game. There's a lot of traps being set in those brushes. Nico pretty good at sniffing him out. Knight is going to be the one to face jack, and hey, they do get to Knight. Goes into the stasis, though. Does have the flash. Going to try and buy some space. The Seraphs, will it save Knight long enough? No! Assume gets the first kill. Weighs the next one to get hopped on. Flashes with the Crescent Guard. Will his turret protect him? He tries to dash back in. He's buying a lot of time. The turret is starting to really ramp up. And Elk is able to trade back the 1 kill onto Sheer.
Look at that base.
And FPX have bigger things to answer for, like that base and maybe the toy croc that's trying to crack them all one on the flank. But BLG are not.
A lot of them. I think they're just going to concede this one. I think that's the right decision. There's no reason to step up right here. Part of why FPX have been able to claw their way back into this game just a little bit is because that inhibitor mid lane went down so early on. They've had these big minion waves pouring into their base constantly, very easy to farm as well. It's allowed them to get slightly closer into it, but only now we're going to see the Rift Herald popped, now looking to crack open the base in the top side of the map.
Hold on, though. Assume was going to back. He canceled it. So this is going to be a 1v2 that I don't think Bin signed up for. Assume's going to get to throw as many spears as he wants into it, but maybe Bin wants the 2v1. Can he heal enough through for Assume? No. 1 for 1, but look at the top side of the map right now. It is Grub-ageddon as Rift Herald brings down another inhibitor. So Bin's 2v1 death costs a whole lot of the FPX. Something that can cause you a death if you're Sheer, and wave states are never in your favor. So you have to take really small pockets and try and capitalize on them. But all it's really gotten them is 1 tier 2 turret on that bot side, but the bottom lane is the one target of BLG. By this point, the last inhibitor standing, and with 6 grubs, with how strong Elk is on 3 items, why not go to knock it down? But Hui, again, is the target of all of FPX's harassment. The Crescent Guard will buy him space for now as they try and throw Jouet at him. The hostile takeover is going to hit onto Elk, but not before he takes Assume away with him. Knight goes into the stasis at just the perfect time, and with no health bars aplenty, FPX have to back off, but they won't let them. Knight will not let them. He wants to bludgeon them with his golden left hand and his golden boy of an AD carry known as Elk. Just like that, the finishing touches have been put on BLG's most dominating game of Group Ascend to send us the distance in our matchup of Group Ascend.
That's it. We're going to get 3 games of this matchup. Hopefully the next one going to be a little bit closer. FPX, honestly, kind of dismantled BLG in game number 1. BLG, though, come back swinging in this game number 2. It's not the fastest, but it's dang close. 25-minute game, no lane into the Talia matchup, but very much you're looking to get to the later stages of the game, find the Lucian, and murder him in a straight-up one-tap. If you get far enough ahead as Knight, not even. That's the way they've been trying to win their games, trying to stop their slide. It worked out really well for them in one of their games, but so far, so good in this one. I think they can. You've got so much CC.
There's barrier up for Elk. He also has flash. They're going to use the Braum stun. They're just going to go for On instead.
Yep.
Clinical turret aggro juggle, and will they reset and try and over-aggress onto Elk? He's going to try and flash over the first Q. Dodges out on the Braum Q. Still gets stunned up, and Shadow with a perfectly timed flash. That's the exact start you need for FPX. 2-0 towards their bottom lane.
Absolutely is, and Knight's even going to get drawn down here. Potentially going to go for this one, but I don't think he wins this one. Has to flash away, going to get stunned up anyway, and Assume one more shot. Just going to take him down. FPX, what is this early game?
Assume 1-0-2 now. This feels like exactly what happened with NIP and Sidon. Just as locked in, rotating on the map. They are not going to be pushed over again up against BLG. But Care is the target of this mid lane play. On good sidestep. We knew the seismic shove was coming, and Care is taken care of. First kill on the board for Knight and BLG.
Yeah.
Objectives and more wins to FPX. They're going to come away with first 3 grubs and first dragon with no real answer. Where is the BLG that is all about might in this early phase? They picked a comp that thrives in this window, and it needs to start showing up now or away. There is no fear in the heart of this FPX bottom lane right now.
No, they're playing so aggressive, and because Care was hovering along the mid lane, could easily have popped the Weaver's Wall through and split up that fight completely. Here's the paranoia.
Here it is. Between Worlds going to slow everybody down. They're having an Nebessa teleport onto the flank, and FPX don't know because the lights get turned off. Fear lands over on Torch Shadow. They're going to try to burn through, but the Braum shield blocks all of the damage from Knight. The Coling comes down, but Bin dashes in, gets stunned from the Braum, and falls completely flat. Bin is down. Knight is sectioned off, knocked up, thrown to the wind. FPX are doing it. They're blowing through BLG in Game 3. They want to climb the standings of Group Ascend and drag BLG down with them. 4-0, clean fight for FunPlus Phoenix.
The fact that Dway doesn't even die there is just salt in the wound. 2,000, not huge, but for this point in the game, more than good enough with the Drake and with the 6 grubs. Very happy with this one. Now they're looking to play around this Chemtech Drake.
Oh. With the vibe switch, Wade diving in straight on top of the Lucian with the Killer Instinct. Elk finds his mark. The veterancy for BLG showing its true colors. They find an opening. They break it wide open. And how does FPX navigate this fight without their true damage dealer? Shadow dashes in with the Sonic Wave. Tries to go for Elk with the kick, but Elk is better. The public execution saves them. Bin bails out Elk. Knight sure stuck in a 1 versus 3, but Care can't step up far enough. His health bar is far too low, and Bin knows it. Eviscerates him, flashing forward just like that. BLG do not go quietly. They bark back.
There we go, Way. That's exactly the paranoia we've been waiting for. Just manages to one-tap through Assume. The barrier just comes up after he ends up dying, and that's so much of the gold and power of your team gone. So much of the damage just lost immediately, and it means the BLG able to win that fight.
In the hands of FunPlus Phoenix.
Yeah, that takes a lot of the survivability away from this Nocturne, and also takes away the ability to flash follow to make sure you get the fear off after the paranoia. Really good pickup there, but still looks like BLG, they want to fight this one.
Here we go, where there's smoke, fire coming next, and BLG has lit Assume ablaze. Once again, the Lucian drops, the dive comp executes flawlessly. And Shadow and Care looking to pick up the pieces here. Does Shadow take another aggressive Sonic Wave? No, this time he learns his lesson. But it's rinse and repeat. BLG have found the formula. Knock down Assume first.
Yeah. That's the reason that you go the Hex Plate here as well. You're just trying to get these ultis off, constantly get into the backline and make so Assume can't play. You can see there, he blew the flash, he blew the barrier, and it just did not matter.
Oh,
he secured 2.
FPX, this is a Rift Herald that you have to give. It's so hard for them to fight without Assume. At the very least, they do fry up some burgers. On does drop.
Actually, Shadow stepping up quite aggressively right now, trying to cut off any member who's trying to step to this tier 1 tower in the mid lane. Give Assume and Care enough time on it to be able to pick this one up. 6 grubs means that this one should be melted through and fall. It's something back right here for FPX. Will give them the slight gold advantage right here, but after being about 2,000, 3,000 gold happening, and actually quite a lot of members right here of BLG stepping up towards the top side of the map, just hovering Knight, making sure he's going to be safe enough to push through this tower. Top lane, that is fully going to open up the
Praise Care!
Still, it stops anybody from deciding to ride it and going in, so you do keep that mid lane tower alive. There's at least going to be something. Still, though, we haven't really been able to see a lot of particularly proactive plays so far from Care with this Weaver's Wall. Hasn't been using it to roam around, cut people off in and amongst team fights. See if that ends up changing going on forwards. Atakan available right now. This is an especially good trade right there, and Elk now has to be very careful for the next 3 and a bit minutes. Mid lane, tier 2, Knight. He might pay for his life with this one. No, actually, he gets to just step up and walk away. Interesting.
Yeah, that was brash.
Yeah.
But like you called out, next 3 minutes without that Elk flash, and look what's going to be on the map for it. Opticon is all the way down on the bot side. Baron is now up top. So this is the window where you think the FPX want to go for the fight, but here's the dive onto Assume. This time they protect Assume well. Joy gets complete value out of this Braum, and it's the flank from Sheer trying to break up the BLG fighting lines. Gets the knock up onto but the seismic shove onto Wei. What a clutch W from Care. Down goes Wei. The dive comp falls flat, and now they've got to head for the hills, but there's no hills to be found when the Weaver's Wall comes up to cut off all your escape routes. On is down next. FPX survive the dive, and boy, do they reap the rewards.
And they're going to turn this one around to pick up the Baron right here. FPX, they do not want to slide down. They want to get themselves back to even. They want to show that they're one of the better teams we've got in the mid-pack right here of Group Ascend. Wei is down, so the easy steal not going to be here. So you need to be careful right here as FPX, taking decent amount of damage from the Baron at the moment.
What does the golden left hand of the royalty of LPL have to do here? It's Elk flying in with the Killer Instinct. Great flash, though, to get FPX all bundled up together, and they secure the Baron. And now they can find out because Care has found the pick of a century. Bin steps up too far, and the earth under him unravels, and he brings Knight down with him. Baron and 2. It's dessert right now for FPX. That's how sweet of a game they're playing.
Absolutely, they had a great early game. BLG fought back for a little bit, but now FPX back in firm control of this one. Pushing up very far, a couple low health bars. You do have to worry a little bit. The Paranoia is back up and available for Wei, and it looks like BLG potentially want to go for a fight here.
But they don't have any Killer Instinct. Elk can't really cut down the angle. It'd be Wei flying in by himself. On really has to be a little bit less treacherous. Good headbutt, though. Does get Shadow off of him, but here comes the Scion ult. They use the Paranoia again defensively, but On falls first. Does Wei create enough space to get himself back to safety? BLG continue to get picked off one by one. They're stragglers looking for a home, but all they're finding is crumbled structures and a mounting gold lead for FunPlus.
But it's this point here where I'm questioning the decision-making. Oh, hang on.
Yes.
Hang on.
Oh boy. Oh no, Bin.
This
is not your bottom lane to control anymore. FPX are a bloodthirsty animal ever since they've got the power of the purple worm under them.
Absolutely, they're going to be able to push forward 6 grubs like we said, so this tower is just going to melt right now. You can also then transition that into a push through the mid lane, the wave being helped in right now by Sheer. Jue playing bodyguard at least at the moment. Inhibitor tower still falling, and it doesn't feel like BLG can afford to step up.
But they have to. They're playing the dive comp. They're all designed to go in. They can't play on the back foot, but they're completely crumbling in their own base. Here might be the final touches on the series as Assume goes for the killer blow onto Elk. Shadow flashes after him. Flash for flash, but Inhibitor's down. There are 6 grubs here. FunPlus Phoenix, a team nobody thought would get out of placements into Group Ascend, have now done the unthinkable. JDG falls a week ago, but now it's BLG that fall to the might of FPX.
Let's go. What